Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to Northamptonshire. Welcome to the Cinch Stadium at Franklin's Gardens, where we will be bringing you here the very first Premiership semi-final of the weekend. And what a weekend. I can easily say these are the most highly anticipated set of semi-finals that this league has ever seen. My name is Sara. Alongside me, I'm going to have the former Saracens and Northampton player Chris Ashton as we bring you full commentary of Northampton against Saracens. Chris Ashton, before we get deep into this, I think we've been sat next to each other for roughly 10 minutes. We said about 7 times we're excited, 20 times we don't know who's going to win, and we've been trying to analyse who's kicking off, who's injured, what's going on. This is a good one, isn't it?
I lied about 12 times on my way through the crowd in here. Whatever shirt they were asking me, like, who are you supporting? I said, yes, who are you supporting? Yes, Saracens. I was just in the middle of them all.
Yeah, it's too tight to call. It's been a very brave person who's actually been definitive. I mean, the bookies have Northampton just ahead, and much of that, Chris, is you have played in so many of these semi-finals. A lot of this does come down to home advantage.
It does, and the bookies tend to be quite right a lot of the time. But I've actually been on the end of 2 defeats at home semi-finals. Saracens beating us here, and Northampton's beating us at the Stonex. I've also been on the right end of some results too, but I've had both losses, and at both occasions we were top of the league.
Yeah.
So that's why I just can't decide which way this way is going to go. I think Saracens missing, not having a really fit Alex Good in the squad. He's not ideal, and
no Sean Maitland,
but even one better than that is Rotimi Shagan, who is without doubt Saracens' best winger. He just can't seem to stay fit at the moment, so he's a big loss. I would have liked, and Alex Zosky's back playing, which is great news, but he's just not had enough rugby just yet.
And let us not forget, earlier in the season, he feels a little bit like of a forgotten man right now, and really shouldn't be. Is obviously Andy Christie for Saracens as well, who did great runs, of course, throughout that international period and was really pushing for that starting shirt for Scotland. But obviously he's fallen away as well to injury. So perhaps that's a little bit of Saracens' story this season. They just haven't had their top players available for them consistently. We'll focus on the away team before we move on to the home team shortly. If we go back right to the start of the season, they had a terrible start. You remember we were in the World Cup. They had some big losses before they actually managed to string something together. The players came back and everything started to fit again. Everyone thought it was Saracens of old, but it was performances exactly like where they had Sale turn up at the Stonex and they lost by 10 points, that questions have now been asked. This is the turn for Saracens. Things are changing.
Well, we all thought that until they got beat by Sale, I suppose. At home, that was the part where we were like, I think we've gone through this season going, that's the Saracens we know. And then the week after they've got beat, or they've really struggled to get a game together, and we've gone, actually, no, maybe they are at a period in the transition of they've got too many players that need managing more than can get out, train, and just keep repeating it week to week. Whereas we look at Northampton, and it just seems polar opposite. They're in such a good spot. They've got a great young squad, all similar ages, all seen friends. It seems like Saracens maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah, and talking of that, you do feel that Northampton, as they arrive here as the favourites to win this, only just, they have really built towards this moment, particularly this season. You think about the big games Northampton have played. They went down to Twickenham, albeit they lost to Harlequins, and I think they call it the big summer kick-off down there. A huge experience for a lot of their young players. They played at Croke Park as well. They are going to be very well adjusted to a strong atmosphere, and tonight this atmosphere is for them. That does make a difference.
Yeah, I suppose the only concern is that because they are relatively young and they have lost the 2 previous last semi-finals, they haven't managed to get the result yet and get a big result enough to get them into any final. And the same happened at Leinster a few weeks ago. The game was almost gone before they thought, okay, we'll have a go at this, which is, you can look at it and go, had we started properly, we'd have been in the game. But no, you already let the game go before you decided to lose. There's no pressure on, so that's the big sticking point for me. When the pressure is on, which it will be from the off here tonight, can they manage the game properly?
Okay, we're going to talk about the leavers shortly, but it's worth remembering today is an anniversary. It's a 10-year anniversary to the day that the Saints beat Saracens in the Premiership final back in 2014.
Oh, that's a bad memory for me, Sarah.
Yeah, I know. I was.
It was never a try.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Okay, of course. Played at Twickenham. Eventually, the Saints won 24 points to 10. It was in extra time. And when I give you some of the names that played that day for Saints, it was Courtney Laws and Alex Waller, the only ones who remain in the squad from that moment. Also, Phil Dowson was actually playing that day. He was on the bench, actually. And then for Saracens, they had the one and only Chris Ashton alongside me here, Owen Farrell. Steve Borthwick was captain that day.
His last game.
And then Billy Vunipola as well. That's a big anniversary for Saints, the last time they actually lifted that trophy. They've had a bit of a roller coaster up and down since, and a lot of foundations were laid by Chris Boyd during his tenure here. But it does just feel as Northampton Saints make their way under the tunnel for the last time, and all the fans around us get to their feet to cheer them off the field. This team has certainly turned the corner.
Well, I think I still stand by that we will find that out tonight. 10 years is a long time not to go anywhere near really another Premiership trophy, and there is, as you said, there's not many of those lads here tonight playing, which is a good and a bad thing. Courtney's and Alex Waller have definitely been leading the troops this season in the way they've guided them through games and just offering them experience. Those two are going to be gone next season, so it's going to be up to the younger lads to take that on themselves, and hopefully they've taken enough out of this season to make it worthwhile. Okay, really important question, and I feel horrified that I don't know the answer. The Northampton Saints mascot is a dog. Bernie.
It's Bernie?
Bernie, yeah.
See, I didn't know that. That's why I was asking the question. So.
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
And why is his name Bernie is the main question here?
Don't know.
Okay, well there we go. So, all right.
I hope I'm right there. It was an instant answer.
Okay, well you did.
The only reason I remember is because we used to go Bernie bowling.
Okay, tell us a bit about that, and can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it wasn't throwing the dog down the
Good.
the bowling lane. That's what you're thinking.
What was Bernie bowling?
Oh, it was just the Saints fans day out.
Oh, right,
we go bowling.
Okay.
And that's why I dressed up as Bernie a few times.
Oh, did you? Right, then, see, you have the big questions. We will provide all the big answers. Right, then, I haven't run through the lineups yet. Let's do that, and then we'll look at some of the matchups. So, right, let's start off with Saracens. 3 changes. It's all in the forwards to the side that actually lost to Sale 2 weeks ago. So the backs are unchanged. Elliot Daly at 15. Alex Lewington and Tom Parton are on the wings. You've got Nick Tompkins and Lucio Cinti in the centres, and Owen Farrell, is this his last game for English Club Rugby, at 10, and then Ivan Van Zyl is at 9. Moving into the forwards, Mako Vunipola and Jamie George 1 and 2, with Marco Riccioni starting at 3. He comes in. 4, Mauro Toja. Nick Ezekwe is chosen to start. 6 is Juan Martin Gonzalez. 7, Ben Earl, and also Billy Vunipola also gets a start. Onto the bench is Dan Maui, Hoskins, Tizard, McFarland, Willis, Davis and Lazowski. Moving on to Northampton. Now, I'm not going to go through every change because there's so many. Remember, they put up pretty much a B side when they played Bath 2 weeks ago, so pretty much everyone's a change. So fullback George Furbank, on the wings Tommy Freeman and Ollie Slightholme, into the centres Fraser Dingwall and Berger Odendal. Finn Smith, of course, is at fly half. Alex Mitchell at 9. Into the forwards, Alex Waller, Curtis Langdon and Trevor Davison. They are your front row. Alex Moon and Alex Coles are the second rows. Courtney Laws, of course, again. Is this going to be the last time we see him play in England? Who's wearing 6? He captains the side. Tom Pearson at 7. Wano Augustus is at 8. And then moving on to the bench, Matavesi, Iogan, Miller Mills, Graham, Ludlam, James and Hendy. Right then. Finn Smith against Owen Farrell. Discuss Chris Ashton.
Finn he just really hasn't looked phased really at any point this season, which is remarkable really, considering he's not had that amount of rugby, and what's happened in coming in here relatively quickly and young, and then moving Dan Bigger on quickly to France to get him in. And since he started, there's never really been a moment where I've gone, oh, that was a bit naive, or that was a bit inexperienced. He's just calmly goes about his business, and I'm sure Owen has got a lot of admiration for that. But the fact that it's Owen's last game, does that put more emphasis on Owen? Put pressure on Finn? We'll see out, but I've no doubt Finn will handle it again tonight.
22 plays 32 in that 10 shirt. I do want to point you towards the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. Chris Ashton was with Chris Jones at the RPA Awards earlier this week, where you spoke to Finn Smith. Again, I'm not going to tell the story. I said this on 5 Live as well, but we could credit a lot of Finn Smith's success to you giving a little bit of a talking to at one point. But do go and seek out that story. Is that right, Chris Ashton?
Yeah, it's along those lines. I mean, I was very vague with the story anyway. I'm very grateful that Finn was too. He let me off. Yeah, I was a little bit straight for an 18-year-old lad making his debut.
Did you enjoy your night at the RPA Awards?
Yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's another good guest on there. You got to speak to Ben Earl on there as well. And also worth mentioning, obviously, Courtney Laws. But you got to speak to the legend that is Jeremy Guscott.
Yeah, good to see Jerry. We don't see him out on a boat too much of these days. He keeps himself to himself. I think he likes it that way anyway. Yeah,
he certainly does. But he can tell you a thing or two about Bath's Glory Days. So do go and seek out that podcast. Just a couple of things that I want to mention. You were very closely looking at the Saracens warm-up. You were a little bit concerned that Owen Farrell wasn't doing that much kicking and Elliot Daly was.
Yeah, that's what it appeared to be. He was coaching Elliot to do the kickoffs, which is just not normal. It just caught my eye, Elliot taking kickoffs, which was unusual. I think we'll probably see Elliot doing that maybe. Owen's been struggling, seems like 6-7 weeks ago now, with a hamstring injury, and these things are just niggle away unless you actually give them time, something he hasn't got right now. And it takes a lot for Owen not to play, and if it's going to be his last game, he's never going to stop because of a little hamstring. If he doesn't run fast enough anyway, it's fine.
So feeding into everything that you've just said, both sides have gone for a 6-2 split on the bench. Yeah. I mean, if Owen was definitely carrying something, surely they wouldn't have gone 6-2.
Well, they've got other injuries too. I think that's part of the problem too. They haven't got anyone who's played probably consistent rugby ready to slot in there on the bench. And that's the other issue, is why we've seen Alex Zazowski come straight back in onto the bench. But again, it's time against them, so it's like, do we take the risk and do we get him in? Alex Zazowski can definitely jump in there at 10. That won't be a problem. Losing Alex Good too is just not ideal. That happened in the corner against Sale when the Sam James went to score the try. They caught his knee. So yeah, I just think they're on the ropes injury-wise a little bit, and they've mirrored each other with the 6-2, feeling that the benches are going to win the games, which happens a lot in these games these days. The last 60 minutes are so important. Having your bench to come on and make a big impact. You know, we're seeing the Saints captain, club captain Lewis Ludlam sit on the bench, which is almost his position coming off the bench.
And great to have him back, because he's been out so long injured. He did feature in that Bath game, of course, but yeah, great to have him, and a real powerhouse to actually bring off the bench in that regard. Right, they are building up here now for the teams to come out onto the pitch. So you've got the tunnel that's been made by all of the young players as they get ready for Saracens to come out, and you will hear the roar. Well, you'll hear a quiet roar as Saracens come out. There is a pocket of fans off to our right here, and they get a very respectful boo, which they'll be delighted with as well. There was a little bit made in the media about the fact that Saracens actually handed back 500 of their tickets to this fixture. Now, I think a bit more was made of this than perhaps should have been, because this is a Friday night game. It's quite hard, if you've already got work, within 2 weeks, to get more time off to get up here for a 7:45 kickoff on a Friday night. I think Saints fans have just been delighted that a few more tickets were made available to them, actually.
Yeah, that's definitely the reason. Friday night in Northampton is not ideal if you're in London, and a lot of the fans, Saracens fans, actually, you don't really necessarily have a car in London. You use the transport. It's quite convenient to get out to Mill Hill to the stadium. So unfortunately I had to send 500 back, but Saints needed more tickets anyways. I'm sure they would have struggled to get rid of them.
Right then, everyone is on their feet here now at the Gardens, and Saracens are being made to wait for Northampton to come out on the field. That's exactly how Northampton will want it as well. So the huge flags of the Northampton colours, of course, the green, black and gold, are flying on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side of the field. There is not an empty seat, but get ready for this place to have the roof raised. Here come Northampton. Courtney Laws calmly comes out onto the pitch with his 4 children to either side of him to the centre, the slow walk of a man whose heart rate is as low as it can be. Alex Wallett there as well. making their way out here at the Gardens for the last time. And what an occasion. This Premiership semi-final offers so much. The excitement is high. The expectation from both sets of fans is off the scale as everyone gets ready to settle in for what could be one of the best Premiership semi-finals we have ever seen. You're listening to 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. My name is Sara Orchard. Alongside me here, I have Chris Ashton, who's played for both these clubs, two absolute powerhouses of the English game. And Chris Ashton, no one will dare call this.
No, it's on a knife edge. The first 20 minutes is so important. We saw Northampton struggle against Leinster in the semi-final a few weeks ago, Champions Cup. So they know they need to start well. They've had a good few weeks off, which will also make them want to start well because they're feeling fresh. They want to fly into it. And Saracens will be desperate to put right the last home game against Sale that they had. It was the worst I've seen them play in a long time, and they know that. So first 20 minutes is very, very important for both teams.
Okay, you can hear the crowd already. You're going to be hearing a lot of the Saints marching in as they get ready. There's plenty of people who haven't even taken their seats yet, but we're underway then in the first Premiership semi-final. Northampton against Saracens. It's the home side that kick off. Saints travelling from left to right in this first half. Saracens on the right-hand side of the field have gathered the ball. It's been lost on the floor. Has it gone forward? Yes, it has. A great contest there from the Saints in the first contest that they had, and they have won the scrum inside of the Saracens half between the 10 and the 22, and there's already a little bit of argy-bargy going on between Gonzalez and Langdon as they're separated, but I can tell you what, the crowd are loving this.
It's actually great work from Tom Pearson coming round off the kick-off, stopping the maul, got himself straight into place before the maul was set, means it's legal, and they couldn't get rid of him. So that's someone I feel like I've not mentioned for ages for Saints, Tom Pearson. He had such a good year here at Saints. We just haven't seen him he's been out injured. Great to see him back as well playing. He's going to be vitally important tonight.
And of course the subplot to all of this, of course, is that Steve Borthwick, the England head coach, he still will be selecting his squad to go on that tour to Japan and New Zealand.
Control, step.
Okay, Saracens have given away a free kick to Northampton. Control was the message, and here comes Furbank through the guts of the park, waiting at the moment. Still a Saints ball. They're attacking outside of the 22. Turnover here for Saracens, who managed to get the ball back. It was picked up and taken by Nick Tompkins. They drive round the corner, so Saracens have got themselves out a little bit of trouble, and they've got a penalty. Saints not rolling away, and Saracens will clear their lines.
Yeah, not ideal for Saints. Just settle it down. First scrum, free kick. Just calm everybody down. This is what sometimes with the inexperience and young, you want to just fly into everything. Just take your time though. Let everybody calm down. Go for another scrum, but they frantically shot off with a wide move. Got turned over straight away.
First opportunity of any kind of kick was taken by Saracens. Elliot Daly, not taken by Owen Farrell. They've got a line out on the far side of the field. They're on the Saints 10-metre line, coming down now. Earl with the soft hands to pop off to Farrell, who goes into contact. Big push back, huge tackle going in there on Elliot Daly, who's back on the halfway line. So Saracens have lost ground from the line out. Earl decides to take it on forward himself. Van Zyl with the distribution. Tompkins in the centre there at first receiver, manages to make its way back. Van Zyl once again. Farrell pushes towards the far side of the field. It's still a Saracens ball, and we've got a breakaway now down the right-hand side. Saints eventually managed to bring it down. Tompkins on it once again. He's brought down, and Saracens all of a sudden, from a very dodgy start, had the ball outside of the Saints 22. Saints not releasing the tackle player on the fall, and it's Saracens with the penalty. Early stages here of this Premiership match. Only a couple of minutes in. It is Northampton 0, Saracens 0. Saracens with a kickable penalty opportunity. They're not interested in the post. They are all interested in the corner, and that's exactly where they drop it for a line out 5 metres out.
Great half break from Saracens. Up the touchline. I'm just watching Owen Farrell. He's got no interest in kicking the ball, which...
Quick line out taken. Atoje goes up to take it. The driver's on now by Saracens. They're trying to push it forward. Jamie George has gone round the back. He managed to find his man in the lineup. He's now driving forward. It's still a Saracens ball, but Northampton are dealing with this very well. Eventually they go back. Tompkins back inside. They managed to get a little bit of a run on the outside. Not quite at the line yet. Now back to Farrell. He decides to go himself. Didn't think he could get that pass away. Good decision. Earl offers himself once again. Huge tackles to push him backwards. Wonderful defence here by Northampton to hold Saracens out. Mako Vunipola driving forward, one of the many players we'll be focusing on today. Is this the last time we will see them play for English club rugby? Penalty advantage now to Saracens, goes back to Farrell. Daly, who's back on the 22-metre line. Big pass out wide here for Saracens, back inside to Cinti. Little bit of footwork from the Argentinian. He's driving forward. This is strong work, bundled out on the near side, but they'll come back for the penalty. It is a Saracens penalty. No arms in a tackle. I don't know if they're going to look at it. They're looking at Augustus at the moment on the big screen. Our referee today is Christoph Ridley. It's just a penalty, very kickable for Saracens.
Yeah, Saints just got to be careful here. 3 penalties in a row, bang, 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 and 3 points now, you would have thought, with Elliott going. Interestingly, again, though, the ball flicked back to Owen, and it looked like it was going to be a drop goal, because he was in that position, but he straight away didn't go for it, looked for the pass, and Elliott's taking the conversion. But this is just exactly what Saracens, the start they wanted. Penalty. If they just keep building a score, and it forces Saints to... That doesn't look great from Augustus, that tackle. It's not being looked at.
No, at the moment, we just got a little bit of a flash there, and the Saracens player, we did see their legs go over the horizontal. We didn't see quite the beginning of it though, but here comes Daly, who's taking the kicks, uses that left boot, that one straight through. So in the first Premiership semi-final, Northampton 0, Saracens 3, only 4 minutes played.
Yeah, perfect start from Saracens. They'll be looking to just keep doing the same. There's no need, they're the away team, they're here to do a job that will play into their hands, no doubt, but Saints will come up with something here, that's for sure.
Furbank then with the restart, sends it down the throat of Billy Vunipola, who's hanging out on the left-hand wing, 5 metres from the near side, and Vunipola's dragged towards this near side touch, just manages to stay in field. That was really tight defending there by Northampton, nearly got away with a line out, but somehow Vunipola kept his body on the right side of the whitewash. High ball box kick comes in this time by Ivan van Zyl, the South African, manages to land down, waiting for it is Augustus. He drives forward on the halfway line. So Saints back on the ball on the halfway line as a little bit of footwork comes in from Curtis Langdon. How good a season has the hooker had for the Saints? He's been a real journeyman player, seems to have found a good home for himself. There's a little scuff off the boot there by Finn Smith, but it's a wonderful run there by Freeman. He's been doing that all season. Really great communication there between the fly half and the wing, as Saints now have the ball on the Saracens 10-metre line. Here's Langdon once again, pops off the ball, really nice, being run forward now by Cole through the centre of the park. He's just outside of the Saracens 22. This is how Northampton play, it's fast, it's furious, it's Furbank through the middle. Ball is down, but it's gone forward in the process. We'll restart with a Saracen scrum. Now, you've said this a few times about Northampton, that they're just a little bit fast and furious. This is how they played this season.
And that's fine, I think, in Premiership rounds. Teams can't keep up with you, but the experience of Saracens is very different. We're seeing with the defence here, the defence already is so many levels above where they were at Sale. They are dying to get off the line and hit Saints, and it shocks you when someone's coming at you like that constantly. It shocks you, and they've earned another turnover out it. The Saints have just got to keep doing, stick with what they do, stick with what they know, like you say, Sara, and in their mind it will come good. But Saracens already, I can see, are levels above where they've been.
7 minutes played, Northampton 0, Saracens 3. It's a scrum on the far side of the field, 15 metres out, and it's on the Saracens 22, Saracens ball, and it's gone down to ground straight away. You can just hear Christoph Ridley there saying that he's going to slow the cool down for both front rows. You've got Alex Waller, Curtis Langdon and Trevor Davison going up against Mako Vunipola, Jamie George, the England captain, and Marco Riccioni. And now, a few people were actually quite surprised that the likes of Riccioni, Ezekwe, Vunipola, they were all on the bench for that Sale game. Significant that Mark McCall has started them today?
Yeah, I think he probably, off the back of the Bristol game, he thought it was a wise idea to let everyone carry on playing. And then we came to the Sale game, we're like, oh, probably should get the boys back in. So that's definitely why they're involved today.
Okay.
These are test match players, sorry, there's a difference.
Alex overleaning.
Okay, Alex overleaning there. The Alex is Alex Waller.
Outside.
And that means a free kick for Saracens.
Saints just
outside the 22, yeah.
Right now, just can't quite find. We're 8 minutes in. They just can't find an in.
Okay, that was a free kick.
Oh, wow.
And that has gone all kinds of wrong.
Oh, no.
It's gone straight out of play because it's a free kick. So a mistake there by Elliot Daly. I mean, he really gave it some welly, but it's ended up being a Northampton line-out just outside of the Saracens 22. Langdon with the ball. This is a lovely attacking platform for Northampton as they decide to go long towards the back. Laws did get his hands on it. He couldn't take it cleanly. It's popped down, though, and Saints have now got a bit of a tidy-up job to do here. It was well disrupted then by Saracens, who are defending once again. They lead by 3 here in the Premiership semi-final. Mitchell goes for a little snipe round the corner, taken this time by Pearson as he drives forward, still outside of the 20. Earl is just over the top of that like a limpet. What a penalty by Ben Earl. That's how he's made his name this season, particularly for England, but now doing it, of course, at club level as well.
The hits are different here, Sara. They're different. Saints just can't get anything going. Billy Vunipola, Maka Vunipola, Ben Earl just hitting Saints back at the moment, and this is where they might have an edge, Northampton, at some point in this game, where they haven't got Owen
Saints on halfway.
kicking naturally from 10 all the time, and Elliot's doing a lot of it from 15. Can that become a problem at some point down the line in this game?
Yeah, we're not going to lie. We're keeping a close eye on Owen Farrell. He's almost a luxury out there at the moment. Sort of, he's an on-field coach. He's avoiding any contact at all. He's not taking the kick, so it's really interesting how Saracens are deploying him. They've come away with the ball at the line-out. It's Earl who drives it forward. Farrell once again with the distribution to Sinti. Out round to Daly. Daly on the break. He's got support inside from Van Zyl. Van Zyl manages to pass out to the side to the wing. Not quite there. 10 metres for Saracens to go. Is this going to be opening try? Crossfield kick from Farrell. Waiting out there. Can he take it? Gonzalez has lost it. Did he lose it forward? The referee will come back. What a lovely bit of sight there by Owen Farrell to see Gonzalez out there waiting, but perhaps just a metre too far on the kick, but it was a lovely idea.
Yeah, great attack from Saracens. Just off. It's Saints are chasing shadows a little bit currently. Thankfully, Saracens are not turning it into points, but they're
that's one free kick
making breaks.
So let's just back off, make sure we're balanced. Okay. When we set, then contest.
Make sure there's a space there.
Just both teams.
Apologies for any language you might hear. We are just listening to the referee have a chat.
Yeah, the tackle was in the air for me, Sara.
Just so you know that you're not missing any rugby because it's Curtis Langdon who's down on the floor at the moment, so they can't actually form the scrum for the time being. So at the moment, in the ear of the referee is Nick Tompkins, who's trying to chat that Curtis Langdon's absolutely fine. He's now joining the scrum.
No, he's stuck with it. He's had a look at it, actually, Christoph. He's decided to stick with the scrum, but the attack from it's all Saracens at the moment, and Saints find themselves on their own 5 metre line, 5 metres from touch, exactly as 2 right footers do not want to be exiting out. So what we're probably going to see off the back of this is another threatening Saracens line-out around the 22 metre mark.
Northampton 0, Saracens 3, 11 minutes on the clock. So early on in this semi-final. Two sides that have such a history. Of course, Saracens, they're the reigning champions, but it's Northampton who win the penalty at the scrum. Christoph Ridley straight away pointing to the foot, which I can only think was indicating a lack of break foot or a knee going to the ground. I didn't hear the call. And it is now Finn Smith. He's going to clear down this near side touch. So yeah, as Chris Ashton rightly says, tricky when you've got a right peg to send it down this near side. So not a huge amount of ground made there by Finn Smith. And so it's still a Northampton line out, but just outside of the 22.
Yeah, that released some pressure from Saints getting the scrum penalty. Seemed like Alex Waller knows there's some trickery going on in that front row crew. Nothing I'd have any idea about, Sara.
Langdon gets the ball in and goes slightly shorter on this occasion to Laws, and that's a real spun round drive there from Northampton. Referee is happy that Saracens were completely legal there, that Northampton went down on their own. I don't know if they'll be frustrated with that decision. Huge tackles going in. That's been stolen off the floor, but referee Christoph Ridley was right there.
The tackling from Saracens is ferocious. Saints just can't even get the kicking pattern in place because there's so much pressure on every single carry. I mean, Pearson's dropped the ball there because of the impact of the tackle. It could have easily been a knock-on.
the speed with which Saracens are playing right now, particularly in any kind of area of contact, is something so far Northampton haven't had too many answers for. But on the flip side of that, it's still early days. 12 minutes played. Northampton 0, Saracens 3. The ball was knocked on the floor. We saw a big hand go out by Mako Vunipola just to try and grab it back after it had been dislodged, but it was dislodged by a Saracens player, and the referee's going to reset this scrum now.
It's messy. This is Sara, this scrum set up. Christoph Ridley needs to get a grip of it quickly. You can't keep having this for the rest of the game.
You're not controlling yourselves, so focus on yourselves in the first instance, then set, then we can contest. Here's your mark.
Okay, you heard the voice there of Christoph Ridley. He's being supported tonight by TMO Ian Tempest. On the each side of the pitch, the touch judges Anthony Woodthorpe and Andrew Jackson. You can tell this is already a really tense area of this fixture. Alex Mitchell there, he's just spinning the ball around in his arms, but he needs to actually be able to get it in, as Christoph Ridley quite rightly just tries to calm this down. Still no ball in at the moment. Eventually it does go in, and he's got it out really quickly. Taken nicely there by the Saints, who drive forwards in the middle of the park. It was taken that one time by Odendahl. Ball was loose on the ground and it went forwards. It's Saints who lose it. Saracens get it back, and it's the pressure of Saracens once again.
It was Van Zyl, the scrum half. Ridiculous turnover, because if they'd have got that ball back, Saints, which is what they're not getting at the moment, they're not getting the free ball that they want at the ruck. Had they got that, it was a 6-7-on-3 on that far side. But Van Zyl, Mitchell doesn't even see the open side. He comes back blindside for some reason. It was a clear 7-on-3 on the opposite side of the pitch. Okay. I don't see there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much wrong with it either. The Saints fans think he's players offside, and that's their problem when they've seen a replay on the big screen. But I can tell you for free that Christoph Ridley's not even looking at that. There's going to be a bit of pantomime.
Especially when they're losing.
Exactly, going on around. I have to say, at the moment, the Saints fans are quiet. They are nervous right now. We were expecting this big cacophony to come from the Saints fans, but such is the magnitude of this fixture, the way that Saracens are playing already, the fact that the Saints haven't got any points on the board yet as we reach the 15-minute mark. It says a lot about the emotion that's swirling here around the stadium. Saracens scrum 10 metres inside of Northampton territory. Van Zyl managed to get the ball out. Farrell with the pop-off back inside. Really big hits coming in on the Saracens players to push them back.
Here's Odendahl with a massive hit. Saracens sweeping back round now. Wide ball to Daly.
And Daly with the footwork, just making his way back towards that 10-metre line. Northampton 0, Saracens 3. Ben Earl is trying to do a little bit of everything at the moment. Farrell, he's definitely not going close to any contact at all. Farrell again popped off to Sinti.
It's good defence by Northampton.
And Courtney Laws was over the top of that so fast, but he went off his feet. There was no Saracens player there, and it was an easy penalty for Christoph Ridley to give it. I can tell you what, this is also kickable if they want it.
It is for someone like Elliot Daly, with how far he can kick the ball. And normally he's not a big practicer of, unbelievably, he doesn't like to practice his goal kicking too much.
I've heard him say that a few times,
yeah, he just does it before the game, which is ridiculous, really. But this week, I'm sure he would have been putting a bit more practice in, knowing that he's going to be kicking at goal. Maybe that makes him worse. In his mind, it does.
It's a really interesting discussion point, because so many of the generation of players that will come into the game these days, particularly around kicking, will have grown up with Johnny Wilkinson as their hero and heard about the amount of hours and days and months of his life that he's lost to kicking. Well, you have to just admit sometimes that's not for me. That's not how I actually operate. It's such an individual thing. So as Elliot Daly steps up here, he's already got 3 points on the board for Saracens. And now he looks to try and double that. I mean, he's definitely got the distance on it. You already knew that, but he's got the direction as well. And it's Saracens who now lead by 6 points here in the semi-final. You have to say the Saints have not fired a shot yet. They've not even had a strong attack yet inside of the Saracens 22.
And a lot of that's down to Saracens' defence, how strong it's been. But I mean, Elliot Daly, just telling him quickly, he doesn't even drive a car, Sara, so he doesn't have a licence, so I don't think he's too phased about goal kicking.
I didn't know that. He's just never learned to drive.
Yeah, not bothered. So he's not bothered about practicing his goal kicking either.
There you go. Everyone's different, and Billy Vunipola is trucking the ball up the field. Don't need a licence for trucking around here. Right then, just Still a Saracens ball, and it comes to Van Zyl to send it down this near side. Furbank is waiting, gets ready for the hit as he almost runs into Freeman, who just casually steps out of the way just at the right moment so he doesn't give the penalty away. Waller now down on the ground as the Saints are attacking on the halfway. Really flat pass going in the end there to Coles. He sets it up once again for Mitchell. Finn Smith. The Saracens attacking line is so crisp. I mean, it is so flat. They are so in sync. And at the moment, the Saints are getting no change from their attack whatsoever. Smith, once again, thinks he can see a little bit of space. They're over the halfway line. Not a lot of numbers out there. They're not really committing huge amounts to the ruck for the time being, as this time Laws goes forward. And once again, Saracens play this time off their feet, realising it was Riccioni, quickly lets go. They want to contest, though, all the time. And now Mitchell setting up to box kick just to give them a bit of breathing space here. Someone's going to have to chase this down the field. Mitchell sends it down the far side. Waiting underneath it out there. Still Saracens. They're pushed backwards. It was actually Daly who went on to take it. Sinti then hacks it on down the field. It's gone straight into the hands of Mitchell. He looks up to find Furbank. There's numbers for Saints on the near side. Can they look up and see them? Odendahl with the missed pass. He decides not to push down the mid-side. Freeman was there desperately asking for it. They go back towards the middle of the field. This time we see Coles on the ball. Still all about the Saints. Can they make this territory count? Still locked outside of the Saracens 22. Mitchell manages to get it back to Odendahl once again. Dingwall in there as well. And a little breakthrough here comes by Curtis Langdon, already scored 7 tries this season, hunting down another. So many of them, of course, come from the set piece, but can he make something? Pearson pops off the ball once again. Furbank, look at the footwork. One was up. Odendahl, what a great hit for the Saints. Wow. Finally, they get their try. They pounded their first entry into the 22 with a real attack, and they come away with the points. Nearly 20 minutes played in the semi-final. Northampton 5, Saracens 6.
Oh, outstanding attack from Northampton Saints. Just went through the phases. Finally, we've managed to see them go through the phases. Mitchell controlling things. But in the end, the final pass was a thing of beauty from George Furbank. Just took the pace off it, stepped inside a flying outside defender and hooked the pass to Odendahl, who's looked strong this evening. There was no stopping him. In there as well, there was some great carries from Curtis Langdon, who's been a threat all season. And they're not hanging around here. Finn Smith banged it over and he's running straight back to halfway.
Well, all of a sudden the Gardens have something to shout about. I mean, we've got such a long way to go. Still 60 minutes of a semi-final. You never know. Maybe even a bit of extra time, depending on how this goes. But finally, for the home fans, their side is leading here. It's Northampton 7, Saracens 6, 20 minutes on the clock as Saracens make their way back up to the halfway line. It has all been about Saracens in this opening 20, but Northampton managed to hold onto their ball for long enough to get that attack going. And it was Odendahl who went over. Right then, ball has been restarted then by Saracens. It's Furbank who goes up under heavy pressure by Nick Ezekwe. Eventually gets down to the ground. And they're singing now at the Gardens. They know what they want. They want to get to another Premiership final. 2 semi-finals in the last 2 seasons. They lost to Leicester, of course, back in 2022 at Welford Road. Chris Ashton playing on that day for them, their rivals. And then, of course, 2023, they lost to Saracens as well. Ball up once again by the Saints, far side of the field. Taken by Elliot Daly once again, who seems to be everywhere this evening. Back in the midfield towards Earl, who's playing inside of his own half, not looking to clear for the time being. Pop back ball to Owen Farrell. Finally get to see him kick using his right boot, forcing them to turn inside of their own 22 as Mitchell then sends it back with his right peg down the field. And that's not found touch either. So we're playing kick tennis for the time being. That's a big kick coming in there. And it was actually being chased up by Owen Farrell from Daly. Eventually goes out of play on the far side, and we end up with a Saracens line out inside of their own half, but by about 30 centimetres.
That trial have been done so much for Northampton. Just 20 minutes, they've battled their way through it. They've not had anything from the referee so far. So to go through the phases like they did and come up with a try of like real, honest, earned try. And now they've won a free kick for a not straight line out.
I mean, that, of course, is the England captain, Jamie George. So the crowd will give that one a little bit more gung-ho than they normally would have. Frustration there for George as he goes and rejoins the Saracens defensive line. Free kick then on the 15-metre for Finn Smith. Crowd get going once again. Right, ball goes high into the air, inside of the Saracens half. Nice run up in the end comes in by Alex Lewington. Of course, Lewington, he's actually another one of the players retiring here this evening if it doesn't go their way. Not just all about Courtney Laws and Owen Farrell, plenty of other players who are calling it time at the end of this season. High one goes up, and a little bit of a trip there from Furbank as he tried to chase the ball. There was no skullduggery in that whatsoever, and you have spotted there's someone significant warming up for Saracens down at pitchside.
Yeah, Alex has obviously just noticed warming up a bit more than normal. It's an unusual time, really. 23 minutes in, and it looks like he's coming on.
Okay, Alex Lazowski is onto the field for Saracens. We're keeping close eye. Right, okay, it is not Owen Farrell at all who is coming off. It's actually Tom Parton who's making his way off the field. And I have to say, I don't think I've said Tom Parton's name once, and he's struggling as he comes off the field. So Parton makes his way off, and this is it. You've got to remember, Saracens and Saints have both gone for 6-2 benches. This is not what Saracens would have wanted.
No, I mean, you've put Sinter to the wing, so there's nothing lost there, really. It's just later down the line, it's quite obvious that Owen is carrying some sort of injury. Are they going to need to use that replacement further down the line?
Okay, so from the restart, Saracens had the line out. They've done a little bit of pop down the side. This is really nice. Jamie George is going to go over. Out of absolutely nothing, Saracens strike back. Lovely little move down the right-hand wing. And once again, it's the visitors who are leading. They get their first try. It's Northampton 7, Saracens 11 with a conversion to come.
It actually looked like a set move from Saracens. First phase in off the line out. And they dink a little kick down the touchline early doors, knowing that probably no one's behind there.
We're going to have to check for an offside.
Okay, you can just hear there. They are checking the try. The voice you heard come in there was Ian Tempest.
The initial kick, he's in front and always advances. I will put the footage on the screen.
Okay, so this might be chalked off here for Saracens, who haven't noticed that this is going on at all. They're all still taking on water in the middle of the field. The only person who knows anything about it is Elliot Daly. So they're just watching it right now on the big screen.
So 2 is in front of the initial kick. He never stops to be put onside. He continues moving forward, so he's offside.
Agree.
No try. Christoph Ridley is now calling in Owen Farrell to explain to him what's happened.
Jamie's inside runner on the kick. He never stops to be put onside. He continues running and he's in front initially.
Owen Farrell's accepting that. No questions asked. It remains Northampton 7, Saracens 6. So it's a penalty because Jamie George was offside and Northampton clear their lines down the far side.
Another one for another day, but when is he actually onside?
On the line, Sarah's on the line.
When would he put back onside? I don't know, because he's kicked, it's been regathered. Maybe he has to go a few metres before that happens, but that's a shame because it looked like a really set piece try. Yeah. But Saints are on the attack here.
It's an incredible spot by the TMO as well, because the camera angles we had weren't actually that clear. So the ball is now back in Saints' hands, playing inside of their own half, as we often expect them to do. Odendahl has it there, the try scorer. He goes down to the ground. He's putting in a big shift here in this semi-final that Saints are currently leading by a point here on 5 Sports Extra. 25 minutes played. Saracens have just had a try chalked off for Jamie George being offside in the act of scoring, as Billy Vunipola now has it. It's Saracens on the ball outside of their own 22. Farrell with the pass out to Lazowski, who's had to come onto the field. Saracens have lost a man already to injury. Lazowski's caught here on this near side. Somehow they get it back out. Nick Tompkins comes in with like a netball pass to try and get it away, as the pressure starts to pile down from Saints here to push Saracens deeper inside of their own half. Box kick being set up now by Van Zyl. Of course, joined Saracens back in 2021 from the Bulls. As the ball ends up in the hands there of Alex Mitchell. A little bit of contact on Mitchell there from Sinti. I don't know if they're going to go and look at that. Seem happy for now. Pearson, he drives around the corner. Still Saints ball. Right over the top of that as well went Saracens, just to try and slow that one down. And this time they're staying on their feet. Billy Vunipola fancies a nibble here, arguably not quite supporting his own body weight, but causing an awful nuisance to slow this down.
Step, you're not the back foot.
Warning there to Gonzalez. Stay at that back foot. Comes in by Christoph Ridley. Down it comes. Oh, great take by Freeman. Wonderful work by the young man, still only 23 years old, but surely what an England future he has when he can chase balls like that and contest them in the air. It's Saints back on the ball outside of the Saracens 22, all made by the communication between Smith and Freeman. Penalty now to the Saints, right in front of the posts, just outside of the Saracens 22.
Yeah, a bit of tit for tat on the kicks. Box kicking, one team trying to find an aerial win, which in the end Tommy Freeman won it. I was going to say hands down, but he won it hands up. Caught it clean, hands above his head, which is such a hard skill to do, and he's so good at it. That's the point of difference for Northampton Saints right now. Him being able to get up in the air and win kicking contests like that, it just gives you a complete another dimension of your kicking game.
Okay, well, Finn Smith has decided that he is going to try and kick at goal here. And Owen Farrell has started off a dialogue now with Christoph Ridley that anyone who follows rugby will know that this is a regular thing between Owen Farrell and referees, so don't worry too much. Right then, Smith directly in front of the posts, 10 metres out.
They're very close to the ball.
Yeah, and I think that might be part of the issue, is that Saracens are not back 10 metres from Smith.
Nowhere near.
Doesn't matter at all though, because Smith has slotted that. And it is now Northampton at 10, Saracens 6. So Northampton are just edging themselves further in the lead here, but we're still only on 28 minutes. There is so much rugby still to go here, as we see Phil Dowson, the director of rugby for Northampton Saints, just watching on here. I mean, what a rise he has had. He only spent a year as being in charge of their academy before being brought into the men's setup after he retired. And then when Chris Boyd left, the board decided that Phil Dowson, he was the man who's going to take it on, as the ball is just knocked on the floor there. Saracens managed to hold on to it. It's Farrell who knocks it on that time.
Christoph Ridley's face lit up then when he saw Owen had dropped it.
So after the little back and forth between Christoph Ridley and Owen Farrell, Christoph Ridley calmly gives a scrum to Northampton.
Yeah, there was no chance he was ever going to say that went backwards. Oh, Owen, yeah, sorry, you've knocked it on.
What is it about Owen and referees? It's been quite a narrative. I mean, it's more actually been Owen and other referees, but
it's definitely the northernness.
Thanks ever so much, Vicky. Yeah, what a humdinger we're playing here. Humdinger, I should say ding dong more like. Northampton 10, Saracens 6. It is so tense here. A try for the Saints through Odendal in the centres. Saracens thought they had scored, but then had it chalked off after Jamie George was deemed to be offside. And in front of us at the moment, the Saints have got a penalty from a scrum. It's Northampton 10, Saracens 6, 29 minutes played. Yeah, sorry, just giving an update there to 5 Live as the ball comes towards this near side. The reason I was thinking of Humdinger was I was thinking about Owen Farrell and his conversations with referees. Do you think it has in some way held him back in any way when it comes to that communication? Because you talk about someone about Courtney Laws and the discussion is always about how calm he is.
Yeah, it's definitely the northern straight talking in him that I think people find a little bit off-putting.
Saracens are defending now just outside of their 22. Saints from the line out, but this is a really contested ball on the floor, but the Saracens players are just all off their feet. They are so desperate to try and impact the breakdown. There was about 3 of them almost crawling along the floor there. It was such an easy penalty for Christoph Ridley to give. Saracens almost just need to sometimes let the odd one go.
Yeah, I think that came from the scrum frustration, as we're seeing Finn Smith go for the ball, go for the goal straight in front of the six, just to make the right decision. But the Saracens scrum, Saints have got a very good scrum in the Premiership, and Saracens not so much this season. So going into this game, Northampton Saints would have definitely seen that as a target area, which we are starting to see them get on top of, which led to Saracens being frustrated chasing that breakdown.
Smith, once again, very similar to his last penalty, and this time we get the proper hush expected by Franklin's Gardens as the young man takes his run up, and he doesn't care who's heckling him because he slotted that one straight through. Northampton 13, Saracens 6, as the entire stadium gets on their feet
Should
to
I do it
heckle
next time?
back
I'm going to do it next time.
at the woman, the brave Saracens fan who stood up to shout at Vin Smith, who was not endeared herself to anyone here. They're old school in Northampton. They don't like playing by modern rules. And the ball comes down. It's a little bit when someone does that at rugby, how I feel when you play a big round of golf over in America and someone shouts as they hit it, "Get in the hole!" They don't like it if you do it elsewhere. You might get away with it somewhere. Right then, Northampton 13, Saracens 6. Northampton just about taking control of this semi-final. Calm kicking by young Finn Smith. A hand on that there by Nick Ezekwe as it was box kicked away by Alex Mitchell. Daly pops it off to Billy Vunipola, replaces it back. Tom Pearson was right over the top, but he was off his feet. Yeah. He just couldn't support his own body weight. He almost fell there because there was no one to lean against. It was a similar penalty to the one that Courtney Laws gave away about 15 minutes ago. And it's a penalty here. Now, I could say that Elliot Daly could kick that from there if he wanted to, but he's not. He's eyeing up the corner.
It's a really good spot, actually, the breakdown, Christoph Ridley, because Tom Pearson's hands are so briefly on the floor, sometimes can get missed, and then he's stolen the ball on the way they go. So, great refereeing.
Far side of the field, Saracens with the attacking platform outside of the Northampton 22. Jamie George, last line out he had wasn't straight. The crowd here enjoyed that. What has he got this time? Through the middle he goes, taken by Itoje. Earl popped back inside, nice hands, it goes to Lazowski, big tackle on him, lovely pass off the floor, but it's Farrell who loses it. Was that forward? It's still playing forward, referee happy that it's all gone backwards. Cinti now hanging out on this near side wing, he's all on his own. Daly arrives to help out, as does George. Van Zyl now, he finds Ezekwe, pops off now to Earl who's on his shoulder. Saracens into the Saints 22. Van Zyl once again, Tompkins gets up, now just to see Vunipola hanging out waiting for him. Farrell, he thinks he can see space. Finn Smith manages to get a foot to it and the Saints have it back. All of that attack from Saracens was side to side, no real penetration, and it's the Saints who kick it away. Van Zyl is tracking backwards, nearly back to the Saracens 22. He's got support on the far side by Lewington. It did look a bit forward. It's the kind of one, though, the referee's happy to let go because Saints have got it back. It's Furbank. And they're still calling for it in the crowd, but it's a Saints ball, far side of the field, but it is going to be a Saracens penalty. It's one of those ones in the backfield when it's slightly forward, it's affecting absolutely no one, unless it's absolutely massive. Who cares?
It's up to the touch judges to run a bit faster.
Yeah, that as well.
They've got to get back and get on line with it, but they don't often because it's too far away for them. But yeah, I mean, it's half marginal. A metre. You can't call that from where the referee is unless it's completely obvious. But
okay, the attacking platform will be Saracens again. Northampton 13, Saracens 6. 34 minutes on the clock now. Final 5 minutes of the first half approaching. It is all about the Saints, but Saracens, they've certainly been in this, arguably had a little bit more possession, but it's been pretty 50-50, we have to say. Itoje, the man who went up to take it, this time going through the middle is Tompkins. Van Zyl was just right on the shoulder there, taking it at just the right moment. And then the hacked on ball by Tom Pearson, of all people, who ended up in his hands. And Elliot Daly's now having to follow a bouncing ball back towards his own 20 metres. Oh, he's knocked it on in the process.
Oh, he's giving himself a game away.
What a mistake for Elliot Daly. He was tracking back the ball, tried to pick it up, knocked it on just outside of the Saracens 22. Jamie George is getting back in the referee's ear. It's all pointless because the referee has made his decision. He's not going to go back and look at anything. It will be a Northampton scrum.
They're saying the player on the ground played the ball.
Okay, so Jamie George is saying a player on the ground played the ball.
Christoph, I don't have anything at the moment, so stay as you are.
And there you go. Our TMO, Ian Tempest, saw nothing, play on.
I think the unusual thing for Saracens is this kind of stuff does not normally rattle them, doesn't normally get in their minds. It's normally they move on, they're confident in what they're doing, but just can't help but sense a bit of edginess in the way they're playing, and they've got to try and clutch at straws in other areas to try and get an advantage somewhere.
Okay, the scrum is not settled at all. Christoph Ridley will reset that. And we've said this a lot about Saracens. They just don't have that aura that they once had when they were in their pomp, when you were playing for them, Chris Ashton, when they were winning all the Premiership titles back to back. I mean, they've got 6 to their name now, but also when they were mixing it with all the big guns and winning the Champions Cup. It's just not the same outfit that it once was.
No, it's not, and all teams go through those periods, don't they? And as we see on the opposite side, Northampton are at the early stages.
And big
this is
penalty.
A mess. The scrum's a mess.
The warning there is against Alex Waller. He was the one accused of going straight across the scrum on his 377th and final appearance here at Franklin's Gardens.
Say that I'm not having that Alex Waller on his own ball on his 377th game has gone across the scrum on his own ball, so it just doesn't happen. So I think that's what we're seeing is the problem at the scrum time. Christoph really can't get to grips with what's happening at the scrum.
Oh, really long pass, nice there from Jamie George. Strong arrows towards the back as he's trying to move this ball outside of the Saracens half of the field. They're trying to maul this one away, driving more from the line out. It's not really going anywhere. Van Zaal with the break on the near side. Sinti is caught by Mitchell. He's gone out of play on the near side. He just ran out.
It's just naive from Sinti. You can't go from earning your own ball back to a wide pass. You've got to go inside, Sinti. That is what forwards absolutely hate when they see a winger go straight in touch.
Well, Lucio Sinti is lining up at the moment on the left-hand wing for Saracens. He's wearing 13, but the changes now. There was a big hit in midfield there. Ben Earl knew he was in a bad position, so did just try and get out of the way as the Saints player was flying towards him. It was Dingwall, referee happy that Earl did everything he could to make sure that he didn't actually impact play. Furbank now with the ball for Northampton, far side of the field, just on the halfway line. Pearson drives forward on this occasion. Still Northampton at the moment, holding on. Finn Smith with the soft distribution. Augustus getting involved as well. Mitchell snipes around the corner on the far side. Now over the 10-metre line. No scrum half because Northampton are down, but not releasing the tackle player, and that means Northampton have a penalty here. We've got a minute left to play. Big decision of what Northampton decide to do here.
I think they've got to go to the corner side. The kick's too chancy for me. It's a great opportunity for Northampton Saints if they put it in the corner. But he's actually going for goal.
That's a big decision by a 22-year-old. I've written down in my notes as I just look, master versus the apprentice when it comes to Farrell against Smith tonight, and that is a big call. This is not an easy kick. 5 metres out from the far side touch, couple of metres forward from the 10-metre line. This is a big call.
It is, but if he kicks it, it's amazing. That's the risk to reward we're doing. He's putting him. He's going to put them, give him a good lead going into half time, and that's obviously the weighing point here. Big kick from Finn.
And the thing will be, as long as this goes off the field, whatever happens, that will be the half. Okay, Finn Smith was heckled last time, didn't seem to impact him. Looks down at the ball.
Stay alive, this could stay in.
You can just hear Christoph Ridley talking there. Here he comes with his run-up right boot. It's definitely got distance on it. Oh, he's brought his kicking boots tonight as well as he extends the Saints' leads here as they go in at half-time in control in the semi-final. At the moment here at Franklin's Gardens, it's Northampton 16, Saracens 6.
Yeah, story of two halves there. First half, Saracens were all in control. The hits that were going in at the start of the game were ridiculous from Saracens, but Saints found a way through it, scored a great try, and of Finn Smith, as I said before the game, just never looks phased. And he's just on the angle though. He's hit a 43-metre kick near the touchline to send Saints in 16-6 up.
And before I let you go and have a nice cup of tea, Chris Ashton, I mean, tonight, the atmosphere, I was expecting it to be off the scale here at the Gardens, but I have to say, it feels so nervy round here. You can tell how tense it is.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that. I think it's building.
Yes.
People, that kick is really important. People are straight on their feet, clapping them in there. They can set, everybody wants to get to the final because there isn't anything won tonight. The atmosphere is here because they want to see the team get to the final.
Okay, have we got 40 minutes left of Owen Farrell, or is it 40 minutes left of Courtney Laws? That's still to come here on Sports Section, but of course we'll be live from the Rec for the second Premiership semi-final between Bath and Sale tomorrow on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Lots of build-up with Chris Jones and, with myself, Sarah Orchard and Paul Grayson before. We'll have full commentary at 3:30. And it's a first semi-final for Bath since they made the final back in 2015. The number 8 Alfie Barbary, he's found form and fitness after a number of injury setbacks. And of course he'll be starting tomorrow. He has been speaking to Chris Jones about the changes he's made off the field, as he hopes he's got England aspirations and all that excitement of a home semi-final.
Alfie, 18 rounds, all comes down to a home semi-final. It's the place you and the boys want to be at, no doubt, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've worked hard this season to get a home semi-final. Was amazing. I think we went into that last game sort of against Saints, not really know how the table and just focused on ourselves, and we worked hard for the home semi, and now we know the job's not over and we just got to push on.
What's the value of being at the Rec with those fans? And Johan van Graan, your boss, has said you could have sold it out a few times over.
Yeah, I think the Rec is a special place. I think you look at the ground and how close you are to the pitch, and it's being in the middle of the city, it's class, and I think the whole city gets behind us in that aspect, and the noise and everything. It's an amazing place to be at and play at, and I'm loving every minute.
You've been right up there the whole season, but it was that kind of top 6, 7 that could have gone either way, couldn't it? Talk to us about how you've managed to keep that consistency and kind of keep the faith that you're on the right path and you're going to get in that top 2, even though things could have been so different.
I think we knew as it came to those closing factors that we had to focus on ourselves. There was a lot of outside noise about everyone sort of could finish and all that, and we knew that we just had to focus on ourselves and not really let anyone sort of break our games. So, and I think with the squad we have, we've got about 30 players that are all fighting for a spot each week, and I think that's where we've really grown the season. Like, we're in such a competitive environment with such a competitive squad that it doesn't really matter who we put out there on the pitch. We know, and the whole squad has faith that they're going to do a job.
If we go back a couple of years to what happened with Wasps, it would have been an incredibly tough time in your career, but in your life in general. What was it about Bath that made you go, right, that's where my rugby future lies?
I sort of, after Wasps, had looked around some places and sort of seeing I was in a difficult situation with my hamstring. I was sort of had the operation at Wasps, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, they're sort of going under. So a big thing for me was just being able to stay fit, and I came here, spoke to Johan. He impressed me with the vision he saw Bath going in, and everything he sort of sold me on. But Rory Murray, the head of physio here, I had a chat with him. He sort of did my medical and stuff, and he sort of gave me confidence that he could sort of keep me away from injuries, and touch wood, so far he's done a good job at it, and I can't thank him enough, really. And since then I'm very close with Rory, and I think he's been really good in keeping me on the pitch.
Because you burst on the scene for Wasps in 2020 around that kind of lockdown time, didn't you, in the restart, and you scored that hat-trick in 5 minutes against Leicester, and you took the league by storm. But the last few years with those injuries haven't always been easy. What have you learned about yourself as a player and a bloke during that time where you've had to deal with a fair bit of rough to go with the smooth?
It's a strange one. It was almost like breaking the cycle, to be honest. It felt very much like I'd get back fit, have a few good games, or really good games, and then almost another injury, and then just going through that thing of going through this cycle and just seeing how I break. Even when I first came to Bath, it was 6 minutes on the pitch, and then my knee went, and then we said, when I came here and worked with Rory Murray, we sort of did everything we can that's not necessarily just rehabbing the knee, but keeping on top of, obviously, the hamstring being quite a repetitive injury for me. So keeping on top of that, as well as rehabbing the knee, just making me as robust as possible. And with that, I've been able to keep on top of it as much as on a Tuesday after training, you've had a hard game at the weekend and you want to just switch off. I'm stuck with Al Martin, the S&C coach, doing my extras for my hamstring. So it's kept me on the pitch, and no, I'm not the easiest in the gym to coach, but I'm very grateful for them.
Because I imagine when you're a teenager and you're coming through and everything's going well, it's easy just to think, yeah, life's good, rugby's good, the body's going to hold up. Have you had to learn, like you're saying, those extras? There's a bit more to it sometimes, isn't there?
So I think obviously I've always been quite big. I never really felt the need. I still don't feel the need for gymming, but I'm sort of getting proven wrong in effect. And I'm sort of learning now that you've got to. It's not necessarily to get stronger or anything like that. It's more to get the load and sort of make sure your body's working, basically, so in the best position not to break or anything like that. So it's been a bit of a learning curve in that sense, in learning how the sort of gym works, and I'm not just doing it to look like a bodybuilder or whatever. So it's definitely been a learning curve since I come here, and sort of being able to adapt to what they want me to do. But yeah, it's keeping me on the pitch, so I can't really complain.
Because you've had to learn the hard way that it doesn't always happen as easy as it may have felt at the start of your career when you were just tearing up trees all over the place. Yeah,
it's just I wish I could have learned a bit sooner. It's one of those things, but I'm learning now, and I think that's the important thing.
And on that kind of confidence point, it's something I've spoken to Manny Tuolangi about in the past, when he was in his, I suppose you can describe as an injury rut, where you get back, you do all the right things, then you go again. How many games did it take till you go, okay, right, I'm back on it now, and actually I don't need to be worrying about injury, I've just got to focus on being myself as a player?
To be honest, it was the first time this season was the first time I very much, when I had my hamstrings, I always came back and I didn't necessarily think about it. I was always put it to the back of my mind and sort of, if it tears. And then with my knee, it was a difficult one, because it was always a bit painful, a bit not quite right, and I was playing on anti-inflams, trying to settle it and stuff. And I think for the first half of the season, it wasn't quite right, and I was heavily strapped. And then I wanted to give confidence in it, as I felt with the strapping, I was holding back a bit. I was playing as if I was worried about my knee. So I think we played Exeter when the Prem sort of restarted up, and we played them. That was my first game without strapping. It just gave me a bit more confidence. I don't know if it affected my game too much, but I just felt like I was running smoother, and I wasn't necessarily holding back if I was stepping off it. Because I don't know, I think it's subconsciously, you got all this strapping off your knee, you don't want to step on it and not step off it even. And from there, I sort of just took the strapping off, and it's been near enough pretty plain sailing.
Good.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. And then you were in great form around January, knocking on the England door, and got that ban, didn't you? So another sort of example of having to kind of deal with the ups and downs to get where you want to get to.
Yeah, I just love shooting myself in the foot, really, don't I? It's just one of those things. I think coming back from the injury and working so hard and sort of being in with a chance, it was a bit heartbreaking. Sort of, you go through it, and then I think in those big Champions Cup games, you're just so up for it, especially a team where you're playing the likes of Sia Khaleesi. It was one of those that you're really up for, you're pumped with adrenaline, and you want to get into the game any way you can. And fortunately for me, it was a poorly timed tackle and then another fend in the last minute. But it was it was gutting when I faced that band, and it's just one of those rugby things, I think, that you just got to go through, to be honest.
And have you had to sort of look after yourself as well as in the gym and your rehab, but away from the pitch in terms of lifestyle, eat, drink? Is there other areas you've had to sort of learn how to look after yourself? Yeah,
there's definitely. I've been very immature in that, and I'm pretty honest about that. And it's something I had to sort of say, I'll either go and be this player that gets injured a lot, or actually try and sort of look after myself a bit more. And I think definitely I live with Tom de Glanville, so I live with him, and I think he made a conscious effort to sort of help me out instead of that recovery aspect and the eating well. So he's the chef.
He's
of the
man
house.
to thank. He cooks
he's the
for you,
chef
so
of the house.
Got a private chef. That's nice.
Yeah, I always say you cook, I'll clean, but then the dishes are in the sink for about 3 days, and he's asking when. So, but yeah, he cooks, and I'm meant to clean. And then we go to the spa together and look after ourselves that way, and then. I'm guilty to a beer now and then, and I think I had to cut that out for a while to really get that. And conveniently, as soon as I did that, my knee started feeling a lot better. So it's one of those learning points again.
And just a couple to finish. Have you been chatting much to Steve Borthwick? I know when he announced his Six Nations squad, he spoke very highly of you as a player. Do you feel like you're very much on that radar?
Yes and no. I haven't. I know myself. It's my first season back from probably the most rugby I've played in a while, and I'm setting my expectations up there, and I want to be up there and sort of be in the conversation and be playing for England. But I know that I'm very focused on doing my job for Bath, and what will be, and all I can do is focus on my performance and set my aspirations high. But just keep working hard, and hopefully, if I play well at Bath, it will all fall into place. Yeah,
no better place to do it than semi-final on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, wish you well. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alfie.
Well, the voice there of Alfie Barbary, because we're going to be doing it all over again tomorrow. Bath against Sale is, of course, our place where we'll be live from At The Rec on 5 Live to bring you full commentary of the next semi-final. But still a little bit of business to finish here at the Gardens first. Half-time here, Northampton 16, Saracens 6. I'll talk you through the first half in a few moments' time, but just a reminder that on 5 Live right now, you can follow England's women as they continue their Euro 2025 qualification campaign against France, that one being played at St James's Park. Here at the Gardens, it's been a really strong first half by the Saints, Chris Ashton, although we have to say that early doors it was all about Saracens. It looked like they had really turned up for this.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the experience does at these games. They understand the level they need to be at because they've been there so many times, but where they are able to sustain that, it's probably what we saw towards the end of the first half, is just the age of a lot of the boys, and you just can't maintain just when you've got so many miles on the clock, you can't maintain it. And they've not come into this in great form, a lot of it. I think it all adds in. They've got injuries, some lads have dropped out. I mean, it's clear to see that Owen Farrell is playing with an injury. He's hardly been at fly half. Nick Tompkins has been at fly half. So if you add all that up, you can start as well as you want to, but Northampton are definitely the dominant force, and ended the first half so much better than what Saracens started it.
Yeah, I'm watching Saracens run back out for this second half. 40 minutes for them to try and find a way back towards that final at Twickenham. Still only the one change for them at the moment. Remember, they had to take Tom Parton off in that first half, so Alex Lazowski came on, and both sides this evening have gone for that 6-2 bench, so Saracens only have one more back available to them. An out-and-out scrum half, we have to really say, in Aled Davis. So it'll be interesting how they have to rearrange themselves if they do get an injury, rather than dictate how they want to use their bench. But it's Courtney Lords who leads out Northampton Saints, and it's always fascinating to watch Courtney Lords playing what will be his last time here at the Gardens today. He is so calm. Can you just tell us a little bit about what it's like to play with him?
It's just one of those. I mean, look at the stature of the man. You need someone in your team who is like that. Saracens have the narrow figure, and Courtney's definitely that for Northampton. Just to be here for so long, so many years, and getting better and better, and really understanding how he can get his game his best, and not wanting to really drop off that standard is unbelievable, really.
Now, something I was very aware of in the build-up to this fixture, I listened to a lot of different Northampton Saints interviews, and I think from about 3 different players I heard, all of them say the same thing, that the thing that Courtney Lawes does better than anyone else is when you're under the pump, or if you're losing, he takes you under the post and he just says, don't worry about doing anything special, just keep doing the same thing. And that's what he's just done, because we're back underway at the Gardens. It is Northampton 16, Saracens 6, and from the restart, Northampton have gathered the ball through Lawes, who was flown high into the air to gather. Right then, Northampton playing from right to left in this second half. They had the ball just outside of their 22. Saracens wearing their away strip this evening. White shirt, blue shorts, blue and white socks, going from left to right as it's gathered then by Daly. He's been trying to do a little bit of everything as he approaches the halfway line. Huge clear out coming in by 3 Saracens players to secure their ball at the breakdown. Now a bit of pressure coming back in by the Saints, but it's gathered by Van Zyl. As the ball comes back, huge hit going in there on Ben Earl, who was really low down to the ground. It was Augustus who went in on him. As the high one goes up once again, it's being contested in the air, not taken cleanly by anyone. Who's knocked that on? It's been knocked on this time by Saracens, so we're playing advantage to the Saints. To be fair, I think the referee could have called either side to having knocked that one on. 2 players went up at the same time. It's Smith who drives forward. No changes for Northampton so far in this semi-final. And it's Freeman out on the far side. He's trying to bust his way through as the Saints try and play out of their own half. Langdon, as he pops off the ball to Laws, but it's not a clean connection. It's been knocked on in the process. It's been knocked on twice, so it came off a Saracens player first, then it came off Northampton, and we will have a scrum going Northampton's way, but inside of their half by 10 metres.
It's quite a calm atmosphere here. I was expecting a bit of a build-up when the lads came out and got going, but it's almost... People got a sense of expectation of what they want to get to the final and get things done here at Northampton. Not pile pressure on the lads too early is what I'm feeling the way it is.
Yeah, I have to say, coming here to the Gardens tonight, I was expecting this place to be absolutely off the scale, absolutely jumping. It's just not like that. There are too many people, as I look around me, who are just sat leaning forward and they're biting their fingernails around us. As the Saints get a penalty there from an early push there.
They're really struggling, Saracens, at the scrum.
Yeah.
Since the first, I reckon, about 10 minutes when it changed down in this far left corner, they've just had nothing at scrum time.
As Finn Smith, who so far has not put a foot wrong in this final. 22 years old, he had already kicked before this semi-final, 132 points this season. He was second behind Henry Slade in racking up those points. He has been none too shabby, not at all in any way in awe of this occasion. So much talk about how much experience they garnered from the likes of going to Croke Park and the great run that they had in Europe to prepare themselves for this. Augustus, he drives on. Still Saints ball, and this time they're attacking the right end of the field as they push the ball back towards the Saracens 22. Van Zyl calls the mark and then he decides to take it quickly. And he's run straight into Saints players there because they weren't back 10.
I thought, what is he doing? But he knew full well there, Van Zyl. Took it quickly and ran straight into the players. Sharp, you don't see that often.
No, he made a really good decision there. And he's been given another free kick there. I mean, it could have been a penalty, but arguably the Saints players just didn't have the time to get back. But then maybe they should have been retreating as well. As he goes into the hands of Elliot Daly, who puts it high into the air. Remember, it's a free kick, not a penalty. He's already made that mistake once this evening. Oh, huge hit going in there on Tommy Freeman. Absolutely flattened. As this time we get to see Tom Pearson on the ball for the Saints. 15 metres out from the far side, and this is a long, slow ball that eventually comes out for the Saints. Someone's going to have to chase it. They need a name on it. And it's Freeman who's going to run down once again. Daly there as well. Elliot Daly taken plenty of it. High balls in his time with his 64 caps and 2 Lions tours. Not at all phased as the ball goes into the hands of Billy Vunipola. Last time we saw him in England shirt, of course, was back at the World Cup. Ball down on the ground. Still for Saracens, who need to get it out of the wrong end of the field. High one this time. Huge contest going on in the air, and it's not taken by anyone, but it's been knocked on this time by Saracens, who flew to try and take it, and they've gifted the Saints a scrum once again in pretty much the same space. We've gone a long way around, actually starting exactly the same way we just had.
Yeah, there's a clear difference in the aerial contest of what Tommy Freeman is able to do in the air compared to what Sinti, who has been playing at centre, now on the wing. Just the skill set that they're using, he just really doesn't know how to shape his body to get up in there. So it's not pointless Saracens kicking, but they're just kicking the ball away to put pressure back in Northampton, not kicking the ball to try and win it back, which is what Saints are doing the opposite.
Right, the crowd is just beginning to get a little bit excited. It's a penalty here for the Saints at the scrum. They've certainly got the upper hand in this area. Huge frustration as Jamie George eventually gets up.
You need to speak to your tight head first. Let's go.
Okay, so Jamie George is annoyed that he's not having enough time to talk to his tight head. Not that he's actually even bothering to go and do it at all. But of course, the tight head is Riccioni, who was selected to start this fixture after he didn't start last week. On the bench for Saracens, they've got the Australian Ollie Hoskins.
I think he was saying, Sara, that Waller is purposely slowing the setup down when they're hitting, which means Saracens are dropping early, resulting in penalties. But it's all part of the skullduggery.
And it is all happening on that Saints loose head and the Saracens tight head side. Right then, this is a Saints attack. There's a big contest on the floor there. Saracens thought they'd nearly nabbed that one. Pearson then gets the ball to Smith. Smith manages to break away. He's got space. Furbank was there as well, and they're over inside of the Saracens 22. This is a strong Saints attack. It's slow ball, though. Eventually it comes back. This time Davison goes forward. He's pushed backwards outside of the 22. Saracens turn it over. A brilliant turnover as well, because there's no one at home for the Saints. The ball bobbles out of play on the far side, and it will be a Northampton line-out as they push back towards the halfway line. Good, strong defensive set there by Saracens.
Yeah, please.
Saints attack is really flowing. They're finding space. Finn Smith, George Furbank working really well together. I haven't seen enough of Tommy Freeman this evening so far for me.
Said by a winger.
I'd like to see him just get... He's been so good for Saints this year. So good on the ball. Really like him to get a bit more involved. But yeah, it just feels like Saints are really just getting held back, and it's a matter of time before they do get more points on the board.
Okay, I don't know if this is gamesmanship or this is tactical or technical, but Jamie George just did up his shoelace. Billy Vunipola looked like he was putting his boot back on. We've still got a Saracens player down on the far side who is Van Zaal, who's finally got back to his feet. Now Jamie George is having a little bit of treatment from the physio. It's all about slowing all of this down. I'm just trying to see what Jamie George is actually having done to him now. It's a line out for Northampton that they're desperately trying to take. It's Jamie George's right foot. Now, as much as this is all about the semi-final, I think they're just strapping it back down. He's now got a strapped right foot, and they play on. Saints line out on the halfway. Goes long towards the back. There's a big hand on that. It must have been an Itoje hand. And Saracens have the ball. Vunipola drives forward. Van Zaal goes in to dig it out towards the middle of the park. This time we see a drive by Gonzalez. Itoje just hanging out. High ball there by Farrell. Big pressure coming on him by Pearson. It's going to bounce the ball. Oh, that was a risky business there by Slightholme. The ball bounced on this near side, and chasing it was Lewington, but it has gone out of play, and it will be a Northampton line-out.
Well, that's the difference, right? If that's Tommy Freeman, he's catching that kick and they're away. Whereas Lewington's just watching it, waiting to see where the ball goes. Like this is the last game of the season. You're not going to get another go. Just go for it. Just go for it, Lewington. You're not going to play again for Saracens. Just go and catch the ball. Don't stand and wait and watch it just go off the pitch.
I'd love to see you as a coach, Chris Ashton. I really would absolutely pay good money to see that happen.
I did some coaching this week, actually.
How did that go?
Lovely, actually.
Hold that thought. Penalty to Northampton. It's a batted down ball there by Saracens, and it means that Northampton have the ball now. And I have to say, Finn Smith just looks so calm at the moment. He's so in control. Totally belies his years as it comes towards this near side of the field. Comes out right. Northampton 16, Saracens 6. The score has not changed since half-time. We're on 48 minutes now, and Northampton calmly make their way towards a line-out inside of the Saracens half by 10 metres. You see Jim Mallender is in the crowd here watching on, former director of rugby here at Northampton, as a big hand went in on that from Saracens to stop the flow there by Northampton. They've just held on to it. Saracens have done pretty well of disrupting that ball. What a run there by Courtney Laws. He's all power running over the top of Saracens players. Now it's Finn Smith. Managed to get it back. Still Finn Smith on the ball. Places it back. Now Mitchell is going. He's running along with a couple of Saracens players almost hanging off him. Laws. Oh, Maro Itoje is on one here. He's desperately trying to slow that down. We're playing penalty advantage now. Slightholme manages to hack it through. Daly is there. This is a free hit. Alex Coles is nearly up there. as Northampton are tracking back to get the ball back for themselves. Will they come back for the penalty? Christoph Ridley doesn't appear to be playing advantage anymore, so it's Saracens' ball. This is fair game, and Northampton need a bit more shape in defence at the moment. And it's going to be a Saracens penalty after all of that. Northampton off their feet.
Just diving on the player.
This is getting harem-scarum.
I think in the end it's come out at the right place. It looked like he dropped it a long time ago, Courtney. And then Marrow kind of got away with one. It looked like a bit of a slap down too.
He doesn't make mistakes.
Okay.
Looks like a slap down.
Yeah, they're watching it on the big screen right now, and Saracens are bringing on the cavalry as well. I can see coming onto the field Aroni Maui. I can see Theo Dan coming on as well.
Have you got number 1 yet?
Was that Theo McFarland also coming into the fray as well? I mean, Saracens have to change something out here. They need the fresh legs.
Yeah, and that's the last we'll see of Billy Vunipola and Maka Vunipola in a Saracens shirt. They've been unbelievable players for this team.
They go and take a seat. Two incredible servants of Saracens, as the ball is then knocked on by Saracens in the midfield. Saints try and play it quickly, not to be, and they'll restart with a scrum. I mean, I have to say, yes, we did see a nice try through Ardendale, but both sides have actually dropped quite a bit of ball this evening, particularly Saracens.
Yes, they have. I think Northampton's ball really has been turned over the breakdown or penalties against. Not the same. Saracens have definitely dropped more ball. They just seem like they're lacking options, Saracens, in attack. It just seems like they've not got those one or two threats out wide or in the forwards that they really need. Whereas if you watch Northampton go through the phases, Mitchell is everywhere around the ruck. You don't know if he's going to come or go. You've got Furbank hitting lines. You've got Freeman who's in the air. Odendahl who hit the line to score. They just look like they're so much more of a threatening attacking team.
Northampton 16, Saracens 6. You're listening to 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, bringing you Premiership semi-final rugby. Someone's going to Twickenham. At the moment, it is all about Northampton. They finished the season top of the table, and so far they are in control here at the Gardens, but it is still tight. It's only a 10-point game, and it's Saints who have it on the far side of the field. A couple of metres out from the far side touch, but still inside of their own half. They managed to spin it out in the end to Trevor Davidson. Joined the Saints back from Newcastle in 2003 to get a couple of England caps, putting on his body on the line for the black, green and gold. Waiting for it to come back now for Alex Mitchell. Really cemented himself as England's #1 scrum half at the World Cup. Speaking earlier this week to Jack Van Portfleet about how much he'd like to get in that mix, but it's all about club rugby tonight as Saracens come away with the ball. Theo Dan is flying away.
High.
Big high tackle coming in by Finn Smith. Referee says no, it was round the shoulder. It didn't go down to ground either. It's been knocked on by Northampton. We'll restart with a Saracens scrum, but frustration here as we give an update to 5 Live.
I called it live, it's on the shoulder from what I've seen. And number 7 is being changed. Time off, yes
please. Still no score yet in this second half. It remains Northampton 16, Saracens 6, 52 minutes played. It is so tense here at the Gardens. I'm surrounded by fans who are biting their fingernails. A 10-point game as Lewis Ludlam, the club captain, comes onto the field for the Saints. But I have to say the Saracens' careers of the Vunipola brothers, Mako and Billy, are now off the field. Northampton 16, Saracens 6. Giving that update there to 5 Live, as you haven't missed any rugby because they are still dealing, I think, with a contact lens for Theo Dan. But you were a little bit upset they maybe didn't look at that interaction with Finn Smith.
Oh, I'm sure they would have definitely looked at it, but it just looked like Furbank was slightly high, but the ref said he was shoulder first, then onto the head. I like her, Christoph's not. There's been a lot of arms in the air saying, look at this, but Christoph really just cracked on with the game.
Okay. Northampton 16, Saracens 6, near side of the field. Scrum is ready to go. We have all sorts going on at this scrum. Eventually the ball does go, and that's a big drive from Northampton. Referee's going to let it play. It's been gathered at the back there. It's gathered by Tom Willis, who's onto the field. He feeds down the line. Farrell manages to get it back to Daly, who almost breaks away from the tackle. Really important tackle as well there for the Saints, far side of the field, slowing down the Saracens' attack. Itoje certainly had a little bit more of his say on the game in the second half than he did in the first. Dan, the live wire that he is, just makes such an impact. Just go back a year and remember that Premiership final and the impact that he had when Jamie George had to go off early. Spun out ball from Saracens, still playing at the moment between the halfway and the 10 metre. They do get over the 10 metre from that run. Great run as well. This time Maui drives forward. The big Fijian. Spun out to Farrell. He looks for support. McFarland is there. It is tense on the floor. It is beginning to get extra tense here around the Gardens as Saracens are working their way through the gears, getting closer, but still locked out of the Saints 22. Ben Earl is pushed down.
Oh, Courtney is all over
Courtney
that ball.
Laws doesn't get the penalty in that occasion. A lot in the crowd thought he had his mitts on it. He can't believe it either, has to get back to his feet. Still Northampton 16, Saracens 6. Van Zyl pushes towards the far side. Owen Farrell with the breakthrough. He decides to hack it on. It's a foot chase on the far side. Was it touchdown in the corner? Was it touchdown by Saracens in the corner? The try has been given. What a chase by Saracens, who are now back in the semi-final.
Just Owen Farrell. I mean, he was going to have a moment in this match at some point. It's Owen Farrell, but just to make the break and have the awareness just to put the ball in such a small bit of space.
Yeah, all good.
And it bounced up perfectly, show and go on Tommy Freeman, and an absolutely delightful little kick through pops up beautifully for Lewington. Just some out of nothing, really. All Owen Farrell doing.
It's a great finish.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic finish. And all of a sudden, what looked like a comfortable scoreline for the Saints is just about to get a little bit more tense. It's currently a 5-point game. It's Northampton 16, Saracens 11. The try is given. It's all good. And it's now all eyes on Elliot Daly. It was scored right on the right wash as he tries to turn this one in. And he's got it as well. And he has just also turned round to the crowd on the far side saying, give me a bit more. But there's also a little pocket just in the corner there of Saracens fans, who I think he was thanking as well for cheering and getting it over.
He definitely was. It looked like they were giving him a bit of stick. But it's probably one man you don't want to do that with, because they'll just prove you wrong every time. But I think Saints have just fallen into the trap of coming out second half and not managing to get any points on the board. Opening the door for Saracens, and now we are fully game on.
Trevor Davison is off. Elliot Millar-Mills, the Scotland international, now on for the Saints. It's a 3-point game in the semi-final. Northampton 16, Saracens 13, and we are on the 56-minute mark. It is still anyone's trip to Twickenham as we get to see a big run coming in by the South African Augustus towards the halfway. Saints know that this semi-final is not over as it gets to be hacked on this near side. Slightholme tries to hack it on. Oh, he's got clear grass and he can keep going. He needs to pick up the ball somehow. He's running out as it just goes too far. What a great run down this near side by Ollie Slightholme. He's one of the hardest things to do, but they are just going to go and check something. The referee did just make the signal that he's going to go and look at the TV, so let's just check in. He's walking over right now. Oh, he's not going to look at all. Okay, he's just going to restart with a 22.
I think it would have, Owen looked offside, it would have been a penalty, I think, but Slightholme, the ball just stayed flat. He couldn't find a bounce anywhere with it.
Okay, restart. Alex Mitchell gathers for the Saints. Here comes Augustus again. Huge tackle this time coming in by Theo Dan. Supported in the end by Maui to finish off the job. Back inside. Oh, there's a big hand in there by McFarland.
I think he tried to catch it.
Yeah, so it's just a knock-on. Referee is happy. So we're playing advantage now to the Saints.
Agreed.
Gathered by Augustus. You can just see the agreement coming in by the TMO. Popped off, ball
lovely.
down the side.
That
There's
lovely.
space here again. Slightholme is off. He hacks on the ball. He's put a bit more height on it. It's bouncing. Near side, it's going to be cleared towards us. Goes out of play. We'll restart with a Northampton line out. And Saracens put under all kinds of pressure continually in their 22.
Lovely hands from Finn Smith just on the short side. He just takes all the pace off the oncoming defence leaves it up for Courtney. This is where the area where Northampton need to come away with some points here. You can't have all this possession and not get points.
Oh, Itoje nearly got a hand to it then, but eventually it does come down to Alex Moon. And this is trucking along quite nicely, this maul at the moment for the Saints. And they've got a penalty as well. So they can have a free hit here. Why not? Go and have a go. Finn Smith in the middle of the field. They'll bring it back in the end. And again, huge decisions to be made here in this semi-final. Saints now have a very kickable penalty, but they could also drop this in the corner for 7.
Interesting, just because he kicked so well in the first half from this position, but 6 points is not going to be enough to win this game.
Finn Smith is going for goal. You do feel that this is a set tactic here, as we just watch another big player come off here for the Saints. They're stood up in front of me as Alex Waller makes his way off the field. The last time he'll play here at the Gardens. He's not going anywhere. He is retiring. Does he have one match still to go? We will find out in 21 minutes time. Finn Smith then with the penalty to make this a 6-point game rather than the 3 points that Northampton currently lead with. 15 metres out from the near side, uses his right boot, and that's the first he has missed of the evening here at the Gardens. It remains Northampton 16, Saracens 13.
Yeah, I don't think that's the end of the world. It was not the right decision for me anyway, and they still get the ball here, an attacking opportunity. So, yeah, I think it's still 6 points is not going to be enough. You need to score a try here, Saints.
Mitchell then gathers from the restart. Saracens, reigning champions, 6 times champions, need to find some points if they are going to make the trip to Rugby HQ. Don't forget we've got Bath against Sale on 5 Live tomorrow, the other semi-final that no one can call, and that's a nice pass back. This is a great run, they need the pass away. Mitchell now on the break for the Saints, he's going to land it down in the corner, he's going to finish. He's finished it in the corner. Now a big tackle came in, are they going to check it? What a run across the field there by Saracens to try and track it down. I think it was Theo McFarland. Will they go and look at it?
No problems, stand by.
They are going to go and check this. I mean, what a bit of space Northampton found. The problem is that Alex Mitchell is absolutely exhausted.
It was the pass that Mitchell did, that he flipped out. Nobody saw it coming. But Gonzalez, the back rower.
The angle is good.
It's so tight.
Leave this to you,
we are
Tempo.
watching on the big screens at the moment, and they're just watching to see if Alex Mitchell has stayed in the field of play.
No.
His foot hits the whitewash.
What an effort from Gonzalez. I mean, the man's a back rower, and he's catching the scrum half, chasing him down from the halfway when it's a clear run-in. It was a run-in. But no, still pressure here for Saracens.
Incredible stuff from Saracens. They are going to chase everything, and they've won their own line out 5 metres from their own line. Itoje goes up and they try and drive this one away to give their kickers some space to try and get this away from where they don't want to be. Ben Earl goes in, adds a little bit of ballast as Van Zyl sends it down this near side. Has gone out of play on the near side, so Northampton get the line out just outside of the Saracens 22. It is Northampton 16, Saracens 13, 61 minutes on the clock.
They're the moments, Sara, that if you don't end up winning this game, it's shoulda, woulda, coulda. I thought that Mitchell wasn't. I didn't think Mitchell was ever going to have the gas to get there, and he should have gone a pass inside. And if they do lose this game, that'd be the moment that could have cost it.
Oh, what a long throw to the back by Landon. Somehow Law's got it. Ludlam with the pass away through the middle of the park. You almost can't see the ball. It's Mitchell again. He's off and away. You cannot follow the ball when Northampton are passing this quickly and cleanly. Saracens are being warned by the referee to let go of the player. So it's slow ball now for Northampton. It's not what they wanted, but in a lovely position. 10 metres out. Ludlam, who has got such a head of steam. Another player leaving. He'll be off to Toulon, but he'd like to pull on the shirt one more time on the 8th of June. Everyone knows the date. Will their team be in the final? Northampton push back towards the 22. Oh, Mitchell just lost sight of the ball as it bobbled out, but it's a penalty. Okay, it's a far more kickable penalty, and Saracens, that is a sloppy mistake to make at the breakdown.
Well, he's done Tom Willis for diving off his feet, but the ball spilled out of the ruck through Mitchell's legs, and the opportunity was there, but you just can't jump off your feet around the ruck. You've got to pick it up. A bit naive there from Tom Willis, and Finn Smith will make no mistake in kicking this one over. But just before, to create the break for Mitchell, some of Northampton's tack tonight has just been, there's so many options, you just don't know who's going to get it. And had Mitchell gone right this time, they'd have probably been in again.
Alex Mitchell flying away, seen it so many times as Finn Smith lines up yet another penalty. He missed the last one, wasn't to be. This time it's in front of the posts and it is over. Right, okay, so we are back now to a 6-point game. Northampton 19, Saracens 13, and we have to say the last 10 minutes have all been about the Saints.
Yeah, they have. They've got 3 points to show for it, but they've made so many chances so far in this game and haven't scored enough tries for me. Will that come now in this last 20 minutes?
What a take in the air by Courtney Laws. I mean, a bit like Superman there as he took that ball.
There's a lot of trust there in your lifter.
Yeah, huge. He's down, he's safe. As the box kick comes in from Mitchell, near side of the field. Daly is tracking and manages to get enough cover to get down safely, and Saracens with the ball on the halfway. Van Zyl gives it to Maui. Support coming in now from Hoskins, who's onto the field. So Riccioni is off. Completely fresh front row now for Saracens. Farrell there with a little dink through, didn't quite work, and Saints are piling players through this to turn the ball over. It was stuck on the ground. Frustration there from Farrell, not the outcome that he wanted. And it is a Saints scrum. And it'll be interesting here because we've got fresh front rows to play fun and games with.
Yeah, I think that highlights the obvious disadvantages that Saracens have in the attack. They're just pretty limited with where they can go and how they can play the game this evening. That Saracens had that Owens had to try and feed the ball through a really lot of bodies in the middle of the pitch. It was never really on. But Northampton are up to it. Diffuse the situation quickly and straight back onto their own ball again.
You're listening to 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Northampton 19, Saracens 13. Premiership semi-final. We're on the 64-minute mark. A huge scrum now from Northampton. That's enormous, and at the right time. It's a penalty on the halfway as well. As you just wonder what they've got left. Alex Mitchell thought he'd gone quickly there. The referee wasn't even looking. He wants him to go through the mark as they come back now. Will they even consider a kick from the halfway?
No, there's no need.
They're having a discussion about it. I'm just watching Finn Smith at the moment, who's following around Chris. No, he's not going to go for it. They don't have.
It's the right decision anyway. They've had so much possession and threatening possession and not been able to score enough tries. Need to make it count, and the next one could be the decisive try.
Big line out for the Saints. Is this the statement that sends them to Twickenham? Ball over the head of Matavesi. Short towards the front, cleanly taken. Matavesi flies round. They weren't interested in getting that stuck in. Slight home comes in, a busting off his left wing in the centre of the park. Still Saints ball, little bit slow, but eventually they get it shifting again. Back inside from Dingwall, gets it to Coles. Coles goes forward. It's still going to be a Saints ball. Yeah, we are closing in now on the final whistle. 66 minutes played. Northampton 19, Saracens 13, but a penalty to Saracens just to hold into this. It's all been about the kicking of Finn Smith so far, the only difference in this second half, and it is Northampton 19, Saracens 13. So we just give an update there to 5 Live. It goes into the feet of Elliot Daly, who smashes it towards the far side of the field. An important penalty at an important moment.
Yeah, again a turnover, but it's Saints doing the damage to themselves in at the side clean out. They've made so much space. Again, Coles goes through a gap. They just can't get over the line. Augustus has been outstanding tonight.
Yeah. Sometimes Augustus, his criticisms come actually more around discipline, but I have to say Not had any yellow cards tonight, and actually when it comes to discipline, it's actually been probably a bit more of an issue for Saracens this season. They've actually had the highest penalty count in the Premiership. They conceded an average of 11.2 a game, and they've managed to steal a line out here at an important point. Finn Smith is tackled by Farrell as he just held off his pass too long, and then he knocks on the ball. Again. And that was just a little moment of, hello, I'm still here, I'm 10 years older than you, and I have a lot of England caps.
Finn just holding onto the ball too long. Again, we're seeing it's a 4-on-2. Just can't find the way. The longer that you let Saracens stick in this game like this, the only one chance, as we saw that in 10 minutes or so ago, when Owen Farrell just turned something into a try.
Maritoje coming off the field, so Hugh Tizard into the fray. A lot of people think that Hugh Tizard might have a bit of a shot getting into that England squad. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Perfect chance for him. He's big enough, and he's played well every time he's played at Saracens. He's a big old lump, and it's not something we're heavily blessed with in England, Sara.
Well, 19 men gathered at Penny Hill Park. How will that change next week once these semi-finals are over? All the focus of Japan and New Zealand to come after the Premiership final on the 8th of June. Tizard, first carry as he comes onto the field. Box kick comes in. This time underneath it is Slightholme. A lot coming down this wing now between Slightholme and Lewington compared to the first half. Ball is there on the floor. Slow to get up off the floor is Lewington as Mitchell makes his way back across the field again. He's not in a rush here. He just needs a couple more players so he can get this box kick away cleanly. The ballast comes this time in the form of Coles as it comes down towards this near side. Daly there once again. Oh, what a mistake.
That's a penalty.
That's not going to be a mistake. No, that's not going to be a penalty. That was just really poor. It's just a knock on. It was just so poor.
Yeah, Elliott was in front of Van Zilly, picked it back up.
Yeah, but to give a penalty for that, don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning your law in any way, shape or form, but he was never going to give a penalty. It's just absolutely being daft.
Bad, that's awful, lads.
It's just being daft.
But this is what, again, common theme for Saracens. Elliott thinking that is the option that he has to play, an offload after you've just caught a box kick around the back of someone else to a scrum half that's not expecting it. He's puts more emphasis on the fact that Northampton need to finish this game off and score some points.
Northampton 19, Saracens 13, 10.5 minutes to go. Saracens are still within a score, but they've got the advantage here at the scrum as Mitchell breaks away again at the back. Alex Mitchell, foot chase on the near side, but Lewington is there. He touches down. They will come back for the penalty. How many breaks are we going to watch from Mitchell in this?
He's just completely stood up Alex Lewington in 2 foot of room. Thank goodness Lewington's fast and was able to get back and clean it up. But Mitchell is just dangerous. It doesn't matter wherever he is. He always looks absolutely knackered as well. He just keeps going.
Does. And I don't blame him at the moment, to be fair. Now, the Saints have decided to kick for goal, and this would make the game safe for the time being. At the moment, Saracens are within 6. But if Finn Smith gets this, it would make it a 9-point game. The biggest lead that the Saints have had in this game has been 10. That was nibbled away at by Saracens. As Finn Smith lines this one up. 12 metres out from the near side touch. He missed one from a little bit further out from a similar position, but this one is slightly closer. As once again, the hush descends around the gardens. 10 minutes to find out who gets the trip to Twickenham. As Finn Smith lines up, uses his right boot, and that is good. The Gardens tell you that they would like to book coach tickets and they'd like to book them soon. It's Northampton 22, Saracens 13.
If I was a winger in Saints team, I would never be too far away from Mitchell. That is for sure.
Another restart from Saracens, another take by Courtney Laws.
No, it's gone. It's gone back. We're having a change. I think young Hendy's coming on.
Okay.
They got too giddy, Saracens.
Too excited. 71 minutes on the clock. Northampton 22, Saracens 13. And I have to say, George Hendy, I mean, what a story for him. If you think back to last season when he was starting to break into this Northampton squad, and he had a couple of games where he just totally looked like a rabbit in headlights. Wallace, he has had some amazing moments on the field this season. As he now slots in, and Courtney Laws does take the ball once again and goes down to the ground. He's been dragged along on the floor here. Eventually it does come back and away. Hugh Tizard is making an awful nuisance of himself, and Northampton have lost another couple of metres in the process as well. Northampton clearing from inside of their own 22. Reminder, full commentary of Bath against Sale is on 5 Live tomorrow. Whoever does win this will be their opponents on the 8th of June. We've also got the Epsom Derby Festival going on this weekend. Tomorrow we'll bring you live commentary of the Derby on 5 Live. That one gets underway at 4:30. As we can see, Aled Davis is now onto the field for Saracens, the Welshman, going in at scrum half, just trying to be a bit more of a live wire, maybe trying to deal with the threat that is Alex Mitchell all the time at the moment. I have to say, there's a few moments here where Saracens just aren't in formation, and it's the Saints who are gathering the ball at the breakdown here. They're the ones capitalising. They look like they're on the front foot, and they're off and away this time. It's Odendahl again, pops off the ball backwards. Fresh legs is making a difference in the support lines here. It was Matavesi who was there awaiting on his shadow.
So
Furbank goes through. Furbank firing away. Saracens, they don't look like they have much left here. It's still Mitchell once again who's breaking forward. Saints, 10 metres left to go. A try now would surely send them to Twickenham. Is this their destiny as it gets pushed out towards Ludlam on the far side wing? Ball comes down, still 10 metres to travel. The Gardens just slightly comes down. They spin it back. It goes through the legs there of Millar Mills and spins out backwards. But the referee says that it had gone forward. We'll restart with a Saracens scrum. But all of a sudden, it looked like the Saints had this match nearly tied up in a neat bow.
George Furbank, and Odendahl has been outstanding as well. He's had a struggle with injury this season, but he has been rock solid this evening. And Furbank silky as ever, just finds space from nothing. I reckon I'd have a field day in this Saints team.
You'd enjoy it.
I just think there's so many people that you can follow that will find space. You just got to be with them. And every time they make a break, there's no one there. And I'm like, what? Why is nobody right next to him?
I'd follow Alex Mitchell.
Mitchell, Furbank, Odendahl, they'll all get the ball away. Even Finn Smith just has a good feel for when to get the ball away, when not. But one thing Saracens have done, they've been able to just keep Saints from scoring tries so many times, which just keeps them in the game. They just will not give up on this game, Saracens.
73 minutes on the clock. Northampton 22, Saracens 13. I'm going to be saying that score an awful lot as we close in on the full-time whistle. Is this the last time we see Owen Farrell playing an English club jersey before he goes off to Racing 92? 112 England caps.
When do you think Courtney's going to get his walk-off? 78?
Do you know what? I don't think he's going to walk off until this job is done. I could be wrong. Until they are totally sure.
He's coming off.
Well, they've just popped up on the big screen a couple of Saints legends. Dylan Hartley here watching on tonight. Luther Burrell there as well, as the ball gets taken away by Saracens from the scrum as they send it down the far side of the field. Furbank is there, had a little bit of treatment in that last stoppage of play as it bounces over the head there of Tizard, and that Elliot Daly's almost second guessing himself of picking that one up as the ball's been hacked out on the far side of the field. He's given a lovely line out to Northampton, and you just felt there from Daly, having knocked it on in a similar position earlier on in the game, he just couldn't quite grab it early enough.
Well, the problem is because he's done all the kicking, he's on the left side of the scrum and he's kicking it as far as he can, and he's chasing it all the way down. So the whole backfield is out of sync because Owen should have stayed, but he's chasing, and Aled Davis, the scrum half's come on and he's not up to scratch with it. There's no one back there to catch it.
Ball comes in by Northampton, 5.5 minutes to go. Northampton 22, Saracens 13. Have Saracens got the fight here because they are running out of time? A 9-point game. Northampton lead. A try now would surely be all over. Driving forward. Ball spun out from Mitchell. Oh, what a take by Freeman. Had to reach back to gather it. Managed to keep it in his club's hands. Matavesi, he now goes down to ground. Saints just need to hold on to this ball, bide their time. Don't get too risky here. They have the opportunity, they have the time. They have the luxury of the scoreboard in their favour. Saracens need the ball desperately. They need someone to do something. As it comes back to Finn Smith, who switches direction. A little bit of footwork comes in by Freeman. Saints even aren't trying to do too much at the moment, as it just gets lost over the head there of Smith. That was a mistake, and now the Saints are pushed back inside of their own half. All of a sudden, Saracens get a little bit more excited, but it's still a Saints ball, as the calm head of Alex Mitchell just slowly drags it back, the 27-year-old, getting it towards, and he needs someone to go on a foot chase down the far side wing. Elliot Daly underneath it, takes it calmly. There's a little bit of space here for Saracens on this near side if they could break away, but the ball hits the deck. It's the Saints who are now going. There's no one at home from Saracens. The little hack over the top. It's sent down the field there by Finn Smith. He's given Saracens a line out. He wanted someone to chase it a bit quicker. Arguably, if he put a little bit less on that ball, maybe he might have got a foot chase, but time running out for Sarries.
Yeah, Saints are just happy to sit on the halfway line playing phase after phase, which probably isn't the right thing to do, but it's just in their instinct to keep playing rugby.
Okay, Alex Moon now making his way off the field. He's on his way to Bayonne. He gets a standing ovation. Coming on in his place, Timo Mayana Vaianu. Here we go. 3.5 minutes. Theo Dan wants to get the ball in. Not to be on this occasion. Christoph Ridley has stopped the clock. He's just warning Saracens that it's okay. We have got 3.5 minutes on the clock here at the Gardens. At the moment, it's Northampton who are heading to Twickenham. It's Northampton 22, Saracens 13. Saracens are going to have to do something sharpish if they are reigning champions, are going to stay in this fight. Northampton 22, Saracens 13. Far side of the field, Sinti is out there at the moment. He places the ball backwards. Saracens need to get down the other end and shift some. They need a converted try and then at least a drop goal or a penalty. They can't even really get it back to a draw now. There's just not enough time for 3 penalties in a row to make up the 9 points. Courtney Laws just backs off slightly there. Happy for Saracens to play inside of their own half. When this clock gets to about 78, I think Saints will start to slightly relax, but not yet. Saracens ball playing inside of their own half as a defensive shift is put in by the Saints players just to hold Saracens where they are. Big pass being put in there by Farrell. Spun out towards this near side. McFarland has it. He's going to be dragged down. And he's lost the ball forwards as well. Was that the moment? They're going over the top, trying to contest the ball in Tompkins. But it is a penalty. It was taken by Tompkins. Mitchell thinks it's his penalty, not to be.
I don't know how Nick Tompkins has turned that ball over. It's ridiculous for him to spin round and get that. But Saracens trying to go through the phases, not really going anywhere, just looking to an edge. Theo McFarlane tucks up the 5-metre channel to get something out of it. But they got turned over and Nick Tompkins turned it straight back over with some ridiculous skill. Saracens up to the 22, but they've only have 2 minutes left. It's just not enough time for them to get over a try here.
I mean, Saracens will believe here that they can do something, but the Gardens think that it is all over. 2 minutes on the clock. Northampton 22, Saracens 13. It's been dropped down. What can they do here? Can they make this interesting? Lewington has it inside of the Saints 22. McFarlane pushed backwards. Davis arrives, gives it to Maui. Big tackles raining in now by Saints players. Earl goes once again. All eyes on the clock here at the Gardens. Saracens, they need more than a try, even if they go in the corner now through Sinti, which I think they're going to do. It has been touched down. Saracens have scored. They need to get back. They need to convert it. It is tight now. Northampton 22, Saracens 18. It is 4 points in it. They need to take this conversion quickly.
Oh my goodness, they just will not give up. The try was so easy. It was like 2 phrases round the corner, off the line out, try in the corner. Saints have just gone into cling-on mode for the last 5 minutes of this game. And if Daly kicks this, it'll be a race. They'll be taking the time up to halfway.
Daly then with one of the most important conversions, and he's absolutely nailed it. It's a 2-point game. We have a restart and we have 45 seconds to play here. It is Northampton 22, Saracens 20. We knew they wouldn't give up. And all of a sudden, Tompkins throws the ball back at Northampton and says, play this game, we want the time. Christoph Ridley says, don't worry, calm down. He hasn't stopped the clock though, because I can still see it running in front of me as eventually Furbank arrives for the restart. The restart will happen regardless. Here we go. Grandstand finish at the Gardens. It goes long. It's been gathered at the back. It's still a Saracens ball as they drive forwards. They trail by 2 here. All of a sudden, what was a 9-point lead has been eaten away by Saracens. Northampton thought they were already on the coach, heading down the M40, the M25, to come off at the junction for the M3 for Twickenham. Oh no, not yet. It's a Saracens ball, but it's been held up by Courtney Laws. Will this be his final moment here at the Gardens? Christoph Ridley will make a decision. It's a Northampton decision. The clock is gone. That will be it. Northampton are going to Twickenham. It was tense, it was tight, but it is all over. And how right that it is Courtney Laws that seals the deal. Full time, Northampton 22, Saracens 20.
Yeah, the Saints managed to hang on. I mean, they were always in control of this game, to be honest, but they just couldn't finish it off in style that we wanted. Saracens never giving up, but I think the right teams in the final, been atop of the league all season. They deserve their place in the final.
I mean, you have to say, they're not 6 times champions for nothing, Saracens. The reigning champions, it is all over though. It'll be a different name that goes on the Premiership trophy this year, and there's a 50% chance it will be Northampton Saints, who you have to say just deserve this win tonight.
Oh, without doubt. They had so many chances, weren't able to capitalise on them all, and you could see they were slightly nervy. The crowd was slightly nervy.
Well, in a moment we will be giving an update on 5 Live to give them the result of this fixture, and a poignant moment as well, because that will be the last time we see Owen Farrell playing here in England for some time, as he just goes and shakes the hands of his fellow players who are around him. And he's holding it together at the moment as he puts his hands on his hips. I mean, they were in with a shot there at the end, that try by Sinti, and all the cameras are just focusing in on Farrell at the moment. But they just didn't quite have the personnel for that final moment. And Mark McCall's finally made his way from the stand, so the first person he goes and speaks to is Farrell, he's going to have to do a lot of interviews at the moment, and they're not the interviews he wanted.
Well, yeah, he knew it was coming. He is carrying some ridiculous knock injury tonight that would have made a lot of other players miss the game, but he's battled through it, knowing what it meant to him. But all good things come to an end at some point, Sarah. You've got to, teams get older, players move on. That's just what's happening here. And
full time, it's Northampton heading to Twickenham for the final. It finished Northampton 22, Saracens 20. A late try from Sarries, but wasn't to be. An absolute grandstand finish. Northampton 22, Saracens 20. Just giving that update there to 5 Live. Right, it is all over here at the Gardens. Chris Ashton, thank you so much for your time tonight. It has all been tense, but it has all been about the Saints in the end. Who will they face? Will it be Bath? Will it be Sale? You can find out tomorrow on 5 Live, where we'll bring you full commentary from 3:30. But that's it here from the Gardens. It is the Saints who are heading to Twickenham. They've beaten Saracens 22 points to 20.